The second round of the OHL playoffs are well underway, and wow, there was some excitement last night. The fireworks at the end of the game between Saginaw and Sault Ste. Marie. We had the review drama in London between the Knights and the Rangers, and of course, that Highway 17 rivalry alive and well. And North Bay, did they ever come out to play last night? So that's where we stand at the time of recording. Tonight, of course, is the OHL priority selection draft. It's going to be exciting to see who gets their names called and by what teams. And also, congratulations to Matthew Top. He was named the Overager Player of the Year. Once we know more of the award winners, I'm going to do a video where we can recognize all the players who are being recognized from the regular season and just put it all into one video is what I'm thinking about doing. But in the meantime, I wanted to continue to look at the teams that are starting the off-season process. We already did the teams that didn't make the playoffs. Yesterday, I posted the video about the Guelph Storm. They were the first team eliminated from the postseason. Now it's time for the Owen Sound Attack. And it's been a rough couple of seasons for Owen Sound up at the Bay Shore. This is a team that had high expectations again going into the regular season, but fell short. And they continue to take steps back from when they forced the Flint Firebirds to a Game 7 in the 2022 playoffs. Because if you remember, Owen Sound, they were the 6th seed going up against Flint. And in that series, the Owen Sound Attack showing a lot of promise. There was a lot of optimism coming out of that season. It seemed like this is a team that would challenge for the Midwest Division title for the next couple of seasons. But something just fell off in the last 2 years. And it's kind of hard to figure it out when they had such a great core to build around. In 2022-23, the following season, so that's last year, they finished 7th in the Western Conference, and they got swept by the London Knights. And then this year, they finished 7th again, and they got swept by the Saginaw Spirit. So it's been tough going right now if you're a fan of the Owen Sound Attack. So instead of becoming a contender in the West, they just fell apart. And when you look at this core, you've got players like Colby Barlow, Denny Gore, Cedric Gandon, Servek Petrovsky, Sam Sedley. We all kind of figured Owen Sound would be a top team in the Western Conference. We figured they could be challenging London for top spot in the division, if not the conference. But that's just not what happened. They fell back. Looking at their records over the last couple of years in 21-2022, they had a record of 34-26, 5-3, good for 76 points. That was the year they forced Flint to a Game 7. And then in 22-23, they had a record of 33-28, 6-1, 73 points. So you see there a drop of 3 points, one less win in regulation. And then in 23-24, this past season, 29, 36, and 3. So they fell below 500 and they only had 67 points. So this is a head scratcher of a year for this Owen Sound Attack team. And if you think back to the start of the regular season, Owen Sound did get off to a decent start. They had a record of 4-2-1. They shut out the Sioux Greyhounds 4-0 on the road. And if you remember, Sault Ste. Marie, they were a high-flying offense. Everything seemed to be going in at the start of the season. And Owen Sound, with Carter George, they shut the door. But an off-ice issue then resulted in Greg Walters being let go and suspended by the OHL. And it just, at that time, there's a lot of head-scratching and confusion because when the Attack said that Walters was let go, they said it was because of difference of opinions. We didn't know there was an altercation until the OHL completed an investigation. But Walters, of course, he was only suspended for the rest of the regular season, so that comes to an end in June. So we'll wait and see. Does Walters join a team in the OHL next season? That's a big question mark, but that's just for the league in general. We'll have to wait and see. But really, after Greg Walters was let go, Darren Rumble took over as interim head coach, and the Attack lost 3 straight, and they would become quite the streaky team throughout the regular season. It also didn't help that they lost Winnipeg Jets prospect Colby Barlow, who suffered a back injury. He missed almost a month of action midway through the regular season. And then at the trade deadline, the Owen Sound Attack, I believe they were 5th in the Western Conference, and they went all in. They made the first trade, or at least we thought they were going all in. They did a trade with the Peterborough Petes. They sent Nico Addy, who was their first-round pick from last season, to the Petes for Sam McHugh and Connor Smith, 2 veteran players who were key pieces of that championship team in Peterborough a season ago. But then that was it. It was radio silence after, as other teams are adding pieces and getting bigger and stronger. But Owen Sound, it felt like you kind of thought they'd do more, but they decided, the one trade was enough. Dale DeGray even mentioned about how the prices were pretty steep for some of the players that were being moved around. There's a lot of draft picks that were trading places, but it's kind of surprising seeing Owen Sound saying they're going to buy and then just sit on it. And I almost wonder if that kind of disrupted the flow a bit, because this team just is very confusing. The team would win some games and then lose some. It was basically 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. And then, like I said, they finished 7th in the Western Conference. The top 10 scorers this season, Denny Gore, he was outstanding. 36 goals, 60 assists, good for 96 points. He is a complete player. Ethan Burrows, he was second in scoring, 31 goals, 45 assists, good for 76 points. Sam Sedley, 9 goals, 54 assists, 63 points. And for Sam Sedley, some of his passes were just so picture perfect. He was able to set up guys, especially on the man advantage. So his passing was superb. I know there were some concerns about his defensive play at times, but Sam Sedley knew how to get the job done. 4th in scoring was Colby Barlow. He only played in 50 games, but he still managed 40 goals, 18 assists, 58 points, so nearly a goal a game. Colby Barlow is clutch, especially on the man advantage. And he tried to do everything he could to win night in, night out for this Owen Sound Attack team. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him next year. We'll talk about that a little later. Then you had Cedric Gandon, 26 goals, 31 assists, 57 points. Servac Petrovsky had a 20-goal season, 35 assists, 55 points. Sam McHugh, who they picked up from the Peterborough Petes, ended the season with 23 goals, 14 assists, 37 points. And then there's Landon Hookey, 15 goals, 14 assists, 29 points. Declan Waddick, they picked him up back in training camp from the Niagara Ice Dogs. He ended the season with 13 goals, 14 assists, good for 27 points. And then James Petrovsky, 10th in scoring, 4 goals, 21 assists, good for 25 points. So the offense was there. They had great weapons. They had good looks. And then the goaltending was also great from Carter George. He had a 3.30 goals against average and a 907 save percentage. It was his first year in the OHL, like first full season. I'm sure he'll be considered for Rookie of the Year. That's just a hunch that I have. It's going to be fascinating to see who ends up winning Rookie of the Year. But then you had Urban Votary. His numbers, a little less to be desired. 5.61 goals against average and an 845 save percentage. For Votary, it looked like he lost his confidence during the regular season. Not sure if he was fighting an injury or what have you, but still, Votary, he looked off at times, and I think that rubbed off on the team in front of him. So they were kind of nervous about letting scoring chances or allowing shots, and it really showed in the entire game for this Owen Sound Attack team. So hopefully Votary is able to find his game going into next season, but still, you have Carter George, one of the best goaltenders in the OHL, so there's a positive going into next year for this Owen Sound Attack team. They are going to lose some key players who are graduating from their overage seasons. That includes Denny Gore, so there goes 96 points. Ethan Burrows, who is your second highest point getter in the regular season, and Sam Sedley, your top defenseman. And actually, I'm going to look back. Your overagers for the Owen Sound Attack were 1, 2, and 3 in scoring, and they're all gone next season. So that in itself is pretty tough. And then you look at who the overage candidates are for next season. You've got Landon Hookey, Cedric Gandon, Servac Petrovsky, who's also an import. So if you decide to keep Servac Petrovsky, that takes both the OA spot and the import. Jackson Stewart, Madden Steen, Connor Smith, Teos Jordan, and Corbin Votary. So some big decisions to be made there for Dale DeGray and the Owen Sound Attack management. And those are a lot of, it's kind of similar to the Guelph Storm, how they've also got 8 candidates up for an OA season. So Guelph and Owen Sound, the 2 Highway 6 rivals, they're kind of on a parallel path right now, although I think there's a little more optimism in Guelph than with the Owen Sound Attack. I'm almost wondering if this is a year that maybe Owen Sound needs to look at a retool or a rebuild, kind of like what we saw the Peterborough Petes go through this past season, still compete for a playoff spot and get that experience like the Barrie Colts. But just with those players who are graduating and then all the players that are going to be let go because of the numbers when it comes to overagers going into next season, it almost feels like this is a season that Owen Sound's going to take a step back. Plus, there's the question about Colby Barlow. He is a Winnipeg Jets prospect. Does he stay with the Jets next season? He's going to get a look at the start of the year. He's going to probably play the first 9 games of the regular season up in Winnipeg, and then they got to make the decision. Do they send him back to junior, or do they keep him around? So that's another thing. Is Colby Barlow, your captain of the Owen Sound Attack, going to be back next season? So you've got the overagers who are graduating. You've got to make a choice on your 3 OAs for next season. And then Colby Barlow, does he return? So Owen Sound, I think they've got a lot of tough choices to make. And I think this is going to be a team that's going to be fighting for a playoff spot. It's really tough because this Owen Sound Attack team, when they can have a competitive team on the ice, the Bayshore is one of the best places to take in a junior hockey game. When they went and won the championship in 2011, Owen Sound was rocking. Gray Bruce just embraces this team because right now, Owen Sound, they do play in the smallest market in the Canadian Hockey League. But boy, oh boy, does Gray Bruce ever come out in numbers. The support that they give this team, they deserve a competitive team out on the ice. This is an organization that is, you kind of have a soft spot for. You want to see the Attack have the success. And these last 2 years, it feels like we're kind of a waste. Maybe it comes to management. Should there have been a couple more trades? Does it come to the coaching style? Is it the players? I don't know. There's a lot of question marks here, and it's really too bad that Owen Sound kind of missed out on these last 2 seasons after that run that we saw in the playoffs back in 2022 against the Flint Firebirds. So that's how I see it from the booth, and let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.